Britain cannot just walk back into the European Union. Even if the public mood has moved, the hard part is not only winning a poll. It is the price of entry, the rules attached to that price, and whether Europe would trust Britain to stay this time. YouGov's June 2026 survey found that 55% of Britons supported rejoining in principle, and 57% said the country was wrong to vote leave. That sounds like a political earthquake until the next question changes everything. When YouGov asked about rejoining without the old British opt-outs, support fell to 35% and opposition rose. So the real issue is not just whether people miss Europe. It is whether they would accept the membership terms that might come with the return. The current British government is not asking to rejoin. It has pursued a reset while saying no to the single market, no to the customs union, and no return to free movement. That leaves a strange gap. Voters want a closer Europe, but the official policy still avoids the biggest doors. Legally, a return would look less like undoing Brexit and more like applying again. The EU accession route needs negotiations, European Parliament consent, unanimous Council approval, and ratification by every member state and the applicant country. That is why the reset matters. The UK and EU have been exploring cooperation on energy, food checks, youth mobility, Erasmus, security, emissions trading, and smoother borders. It is not membership, but it does buy back pieces of access. The catch is that access usually comes with obligations. The UK-EU documents talk about dynamic alignment with EU rules in some areas, financial contributions, and the Court of Justice of the European Union remaining the final authority on EU law questions. The economic reason is simple geography. The House of Commons Library says that in 2025 the UK exported £384 billion of goods and services to the EU, and imported £472 billion from it. But the split matters. Goods exports to the EU were 14% below their 2019 level in real terms, while services exports to the EU were 28% higher. Brexit did not hit every part of the economy in the same way. The Office for Budget Responsibility still assumes the post-Brexit trading relationship will reduce long-run UK productivity by 4% compared with remaining in the EU. That is not a daily household bill, but it is the official way Britain prices the friction. That friction is not abstract. It appears as customs declarations, product rules, food checks, professional recognition questions, passport queues, and companies deciding where paperwork is easiest. The whole argument over Europe often starts as a form on someone's desk. From the EU side, the fear is cherry-picking, letting a large former member take the most valuable parts of the single market without the legal and budget responsibilities of membership. That is why every small sector deal can become a negotiation over principle. The old British deal was unusually special, exceptions, rebates, and a long history of negotiated distance. A future return might not recreate that package. It could raise harder questions around budget contributions, Euro and Schengen expectations, and the scope of EU law. There is also a mandate problem. Support for closer ties is broad, but support gets weaker when trade-offs become concrete. A government would need not only a headline majority, but a durable mandate for the terms, not just nostalgia for the old relationship. The near-term path is probably not a giant membership application. It is gradual alignment, easier food trade, smoother travel, more security cooperation, energy links, student mobility, and selective access where both sides can sell the bargain at home. The longer path would be rejoin. That would require a British government willing to reopen red lines, a public willing to accept full obligations, and EU countries convinced that Britain would not turn the whole question into another decade of argument. So yes, the UK could theoretically rejoin the EU. But the realistic story is slower. Britain may rebuild parts of membership one agreement at a time, while avoiding the political word that would force everyone to admit what the trade-offs really are. The question is not only whether Britain wants Europe back. It is whether voters would accept EU rules again to get easier trade and travel. Would Britain take the full deal, or is a reset the most people would actually tolerate?